Hi, I'm Lynn Robinson and welcome to this workout for new mothers. Now most mothers, if you have a straightforward labour and delivery, you might find that you're ready to exercise at about 6 weeks after giving birth. But if you had any medical intervention, if you had stitches, then you're going to need a bit longer. And you're going to need longer still before you would come back to exercise if you had a caesarean section. If you're in any doubt at all, talk to your Pilates teacher or talk to a medical practitioner. And then when we come to do the exercises, if at any time you feel dizzy or nauseous or you feel any pain, it means you're working too hard. It's very, very important that you don't push yourself too far. Don't compare yourself to anybody else, to any other mothers. We're all individuals. Every mother would have had a different type of pregnancy, a different birth, your babies are different, so your recovery time is different as well. Now this workout is particularly suitable if you're fairly new to Pilates, but it's also suitable if you've done Pilates but just want a refresher, and we've layered into the exercises some new ideas, some new guidelines on how to exercise after you've had a baby. Well, I'm joined in the workout by the lovely Hayley, who is a new mother. And if I ask you, Hayley, what troubles you most? What do you want to get most out of exercise as a new mum?
Just really finding myself in relation to my tummy areas.
Yes.
And also pelvic floor, just that support coming back in again would be great.
And maybe a little bit of relaxation?
Always.
You don't get much with a new baby.
Having a little bit of sleep while I'm here. That would be
Not to sleep during the workout, otherwise definitely yes. Okay, so that says it all really. Our focus is going to be on mending the abdominal area and the pelvic floor. We're going to work on your posture, and we're also going to do a little bit of relaxation work as well. Now, as this is for beginners, we're going to start with looking at the fundamentals of Pilates, which is alignment, breathing, and centering. So we've got Hayley in the relaxation position. She's got a flat cushion behind her head, or you could use a folded towel. Her feet are hip width apart and in parallel, and she's lying on a nice mat here. So she feels supported by the mat, and this is really important. So in this position, she's just going to take a moment to think about alignment. Now, during your pregnancy, your posture would have changed quite dramatically. So we've got to try and find it again. We've got to work on you feeling where good posture is. So, Hayley, it's dangerous, I know, but try closing your eyes. We're just going to think and just feel the weight of your head on the cushion and the weight of your rib cage. Feel your pelvis grounded. Just feel your thigh bones sinking down towards your hips and your feet grounded. And then in this position, Hayley's thinking about those three main body weights, and as we go through the workout, control of those three body weights is crucial to good practice. Now Hayley has some experience of Pilates, so she's come down into what we call a nice neutral position. That is just the mid position, the level position of your pelvis. So Hayley, if you just tip your pelvis for a minute and do a pelvic tilt. Here you can see her pelvis has come out of the level position, and then just very gently go back and through the other side. There again, she's come out of neutral, and then she settles in that mid-neutral position. When she's in that position, she's got a small curve in her lumbar spine here, and you've got that lovely S shape of the spine as well. So having thought about her alignment, and she'll continue to think about that and control that as we go through the workout, we're going to think about breathing. Now, as this is the workout for postnatal women, we're going to think particularly about the pelvic floor during breathing, which sounds a little strange, but more about that later. And we're going to look at releasing the pelvic floor by using the breath. So you could just put your hands into your pelvis, really, really low down. So normally with Pilates, we use what we call lateral thoracic breathing. We breathe here. But we're actually going to do an exercise called the 6 breaths. It doesn't have to be 6. If you only do 4 or 5, if that's what you've got time for, that's fine. But you'll see the idea. And the idea is we're going to use the in-breath. And as you breathe in, your big breathing muscle here, your diaphragm will lower. And it's going to put a little bit of pressure on your pelvic floor. So you're going to get a little gentle stretch. Now, why do we want to release the pelvic floor? Well, we want to release it so that we can work it better. So that's the idea. So for the first of your 6 breaths, I'd like you to breathe right down low to your pelvic floor between your legs. So as low as it will go, right down to your tailbone. And you're going to take 2 lovely deep breaths. So right between your legs is low, and just let that in-breath go right, lovely and down, nice and easy. And you can do more than 2 if you want. Lovely. So now, your hands aren't going to change, but same thing, just above your pubic bone. Try and direct your breath to just above your pubic bone. Now, same idea, lovely deep breath. Just directing it all the way down. Sorry, there's not much to see with this, but she is working. And then we'll go for the mid-tummy bit, round about where your hands are now, Hayley. So nice, deep breaths right down to there, and that's lovely. I can really see your tummy moving now. And then we're going to come to about the navel. So round about, so you can bring your hands up a little bit now. That's it. Ah, lovely. We're doing about 2 breaths at each level. Try not to over-breathe, and of course if you feel dizzy, stop. And then just above the navel, there we go. Of course you can take a pause between each one and have a little break. And then the more traditional breath on the sides, this is your lateral thoracic breathing we use a lot in Pilates. So when I give you directions to breathe wide while you're doing the exercises, this is where you direct your breath. And then for the last breath, just put one hand onto your sternum here, the other one a little bit higher, around about there. Shoulders nice and relaxed. And now just go for it. You're just breathing everywhere, just expanding, lovely like a balloon. That's it. Wonderful. And then bring your arms down to relax. Now, if at any point during that you felt a little bit dizzy, then stop, and you can always break it up. But the idea is we've released the pelvic floor a little bit with that lovely deep in-breathing. So now we're going to work the pelvic floor as we think about centering. Now, in actual fact, if you control your alignment and your breath when you do your exercises, you're pretty much certain to be centered. But we're going to add a little bit of extra centering in. I'm going to show you 2 ways to engage your deep core muscles that will keep you centered. The first way is the way that you may well have seen if you've seen in the other Pilates books and DVDs and videos. We call it the wing zip. And the idea is that you're going to use your pelvic floor to engage your deep abdominals that, one, are going to help to mend your abdominals back together again, but they also help to stabilise your spine too. You start with your back passage and you squeeze it as if you're about to pass wind in polite company. And you bring that feeling from back to front and then gently up inside. Yeah? But I'm going to cue you. So, taking a nice wide breath in. As you breathe out, very gently, squeeze your back passage, bring it forward to your pubic bone and gently up inside. And then hold that and then breathe. So now you really have to direct your breath wide to keep that, we call it a zip, that internal zip engaged. And then relax. And then we'll do that one once more. Nothing, I shouldn't be able to see anything happening really, other than just a gentle hollow here. So a wide breath in. As you breathe out, gentle back passage, very gentle. Forward to your pubic bone, gently. And I can just see Hayley's tummy engaging here, which is exactly what we want. Very, very subtle. And then breathing. And then relaxing. So that's one way to engage your pelvic floor, but we're going to use another way now. I want you to imagine that you're drawing your sitting bones together. What do I mean by your sitting bones? Well, it's the 2 sticky out bits of your pelvis that you sit on when you're sitting down. And the idea is we're going to get another level of your pelvic floor by drawing your sitting bones together. And again, we're going to take a nice wide breath in. And as you breathe out, just imagine those two sides of your sitting bones drawing close together. And keep them nice and close as you take an extra breath. And then really imagine them opening out. And again, taking a breath in. As you breathe out, draw your sitting bones together. Take a breath in and hold them together. And then as you breathe out, really let them open, let them release, let your tailbone, your sitting bones open wide. Lovely. So we're going to use both of those ways of using the pelvic floor as we do the exercises. When I say to stay centered, what you need to do is to control the position of your pelvis and your spine. And you can use either of those two ways to stabilize yourself there. The important thing is that you don't hold it, it's not a gripping thing. You don't hold your breath and you don't grip in any way. It's very, very gentle, very, very subtle. Fantastic. Well, you'll be pleased to know, Hayley, that the next exercise involves releasing tension around your neck and your shoulders, because we all tend to hold tension here. Also gets your head in a good position. So because we've done an awful lot of breathing, actually, I'm going to leave the breath alone with this. I'm just going to get you to do the action. So the first thing I want you to do is to lengthen the back of your neck and gently tuck your chin in. It gives you a few chins, but no one's watching. Okay, and then from there, lift your chin and just open your throat a little, taking your head back a little way. That's it. And then gently nod. And then gently lift. So we're just taking the head through those two movements. Now, Hayley's just got one bit cushion here. You could use a folded towel. You may need more than one. You may not need any. Whatever feels the most comfortable. So we're just mobilizing the head on the neck here. And we're just trying to find, like we did with the pelvis, that mid position. One more go. And then back to centre. And then we'll introduce the breath again now. So we'll take the breath in. As you breathe out, you're going to let your head roll to the side. So now you've found that mid position, lovely. And then breathe in as you centre. And breathe out as you roll your head the other way, lovely. And we'll do that a couple of times as well. Just gently releasing tension around the neck. And finding that nice mid position as well when you're finished. And back to centre. Right, lovely. We've got your neck nice and released. We're going to release your shoulders now. So lifting both arms up towards the ceiling, palms facing. Collarbones nice and wide, shoulders nice and wide. Okay, we're going to take a breath in and reach one hand towards the ceiling and then drop that tension away down as you drop the arm into the floor. Lovely. And then breathe in as you reach and out as you drop. Now you may need to use a little bit of centering here just to stop your pelvis from rocking. But a little bit of movement in the ribs is good, just to get that openness across the shoulders. And just let that tension go, so we're really widening out. We're also helping to position your shoulders in a good place for the exercises that are going to come next. And one more. Of course, you can do as many of these as you like, or we can do an extra one here. There we go. And then we'll bring your arms back down again. Lovely. So we've released the tension around your neck and your shoulders. We're now going to challenge your stability a little bit by doing what we call a ribcage closure. And then we're going to add a leg slide, and then we're going to put those two actions together. So the ribcage closure is all about controlling your spine and your pelvis while you're moving your arms. So you're going to take a breath in, Hayley, and lift your arms up to shoulder height. And then you're going to breathe out as you take your arms behind you, only to about ear height. It probably won't reach the floor. Breathe in as you come up and out as you bring them back down by your side. Now all the while stay centered. And just do that again. Stay wide across your shoulders. Keep imagining those shoulder drops we've just done. Don't try and force the arms back. Breathe in and staying nice as they come down. Just leave your arms there for a moment and we'll challenge your stability from the other end now with a leg slide. So here the goal is to keep your pelvis and your spine still and stable. So we'll take a breath in. As you breathe out with the pelvis still, centering as you need to, slide the leg away along the floor, in a line with your hip. And then breathing in and breathing out and draw the leg back, drawing the heel in towards the hip. Lovely. And we'll just do the other side. So this stays nice and still and stable, and everything else is relaxed. Now, we're going to add those two together, but we're also going to add an extra element in. So not only do I want you to think about stabilising here, I want you to think about your ribs connecting to your hips, like a bit like an X factor. So rib to hip and rib to hip. So we're adding now an extra layer of stability on top of your inner stability. So lots to think about with this one. So with this one, we're going to put the two things together, and we're going to think about X factor as well. So we're going to take a breath in, and then as we breathe out, the arms are going to come back and up, the legs are going to slide away, and you're going to think of connecting ribs to hips here. Breathe in, stay there, and wait a minute, and then breathe out as you draw everything together. Lovely. And again, breath in, and as you slide away. Good. And breathing in, and out to come back. We could also do it so that as you breathe in, your arms come up to shoulder height. Let's try that version as well. So as you breathe in, bring your arms up, and then as you breathe out, lengthen away. So lengthen away with this X factor, ribs to hip. We're mending these two sides together. Breathe in, and out to come back. And then breath in, and then out. The ribs closing down, but going like this. They're closing down in this way, not just this way. And breath in. And just one more to each side. You can work up to doing about 8 of these. And you can either take the arms back on the in-breath, or you can break it into 2 movements if you feel it's more comfortable. We've shown you both versions. There you go, this is the second version on this side. Lovely, perfect. So now we're going to work on stability, but through movement. Being stable isn't just about being still, you have to control everything through movement. You could just use a bed pillow or any small cushion just between the thighs. I don't want you to squeeze it, it's just there for guidance. And for this one, we're going to add extra layer on again. We're going to think about doing the wing zip, bringing your tailbone forward as you come up, so that back passage to the front for a couple of repetitions, and then we're going to do side to side as well. So we're going to work on lots of different levels. And the idea is you move the spine bone by bone. So taking a lovely wide breath in, as you breathe out, curl your tailbone under, doing your gentle internal wing zip, send your knees away, open your hips, and curl up just to about the shoulder. You can up a tiny bit higher. There you go. Take a breath in there. As you breathe out, one by one, slowly coming back down. Each and every vertebra getting its turn. And make sure you completely release at the end. So really make sure you come back down and your sitting bones are nice and open at the end. We'll do that again. Breath in. As you breathe out, gentle zip, back to front and side, and rolling through the pelvis, coming up to the bottom of your shoulders, breath in there. And as you breathe out, one by one, coming back down. And right. This is also really good for working your bottom muscles as well. Now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to think of drawing side to side with your sitting bones without squeezing. That's the tricky bit, but don't squeeze the cushion. So breath in. As you breathe out, think of the sitting bones drawing together as you roll up and through. You'll feel it's a slightly different sensation. Breath in there. And out as you roll, you're going a bit quick on that first bit. Right, and next one, I'm going to slow you right down. Yeah, it's just cheating. It's cheating, right? There you go. There's no hiding place here. Right, breath in. Unfortunately, if you're working at home from this, you do have somewhere to hide. But just imagine I'm here with you. Roll your tailbone under as you come up to there. Lovely. Now breath in there, not too high. And as you breathe out, don't rush this first bit. Really control. That's the best bit. Yes, there you go. You've got lovely control of that, so that's perfect. Well done, that last one was perfect. Thank you. Right, so we've worked on stability by moving you, so we're going to come back and think about that X factor again now, but in a slightly different way, and we're going to use a little something that's going to help. Now, I'm hoping that somewhere at home you can get hold of either a stretch band, a stretchy scarf would do anything with a bit of give in it. So if I give you this, Hayley, and hold it up in the shoulder, like shoulder drop position with your palms away. Now, when you pull on the scarf or anything stretchy like this, what it does is it intensifies how your abdominals are knitting back together. So it makes them work that bit harder. So if you just start with, just take a breath in and breathe out gently, pull the band hard, you'll feel your abdominals, I can see your abdominals connecting. And again, you think of that X factor, rib to hip, and then release. It can be a little bit of strain on your shoulders, so do a couple of shoulder drops if you need to. And just gently pull again, just gently pulling. Lovely, and I can see everything as it's working. Right, so now we're going to do that, but we're going to do a single knee fold at the same time. So your challenge is to keep your pelvis nice and still and stable as you pull. Now just make sure there's no tension creeping into your shoulders. So breath in, as you breathe out, pull both sides of the band and fold one knee up. Breathe in, hold that position, and breathe out, slowly release the band as the leg and the foot comes back down again. Well done, that was really lovely and stable. So as you breathe out, pull on the band as you come up. That's it. It's a bit of a workout for the arms too, as you can see. And come back. We'll do a couple more to each side. Just check that if there's any tension creeps into your neck or shoulders, you know what to do. Your shoulder drops and your neck rolls. Now you fold the knee in as far as you need to, but without disturbing the pelvis. And you can see we're keeping a little bit of space underneath the knee here. I'm saying at any time you need to do some shoulder drops, that's fine. Rib connecting to hip as you do it. And she's using a lovely out breath too. I'm not sure you'll be able to pick that up with the microphones, but she's really using her breath to help control her alignment and her centering, which is lovely. I'll make this the last one, but again, you can work up to doing about 8 to each side. So for the next exercise, we're going to come onto your side. Now here, this is where we've got lots of these small cushions, but a bed pillow would be perfect. So if you want to face the camera, we'll give you a few here. Let me know when we've got the comfy amount. How's that? Yeah. Does that feel about right? And you can also pop some between your, if you've got another bed pillow, you can pop it between your knees as well. That's it. There we go. We'll bring the knees up into more of a chair position here. That might be too many actually on your legs, isn't it? Let's take them down a bit. There you go. How about that? It'd be nice if you had somebody there with you every day, wouldn't it? Just bring your shoulders back towards me. So you want your head in a line with your shoulders and your ribs, and then your pelvis, so that you're in a nice long straight line here. And at the same time, you need to be lifting your waist. So it's not to have a snooze, I'm afraid. You have to have a little bit of a gap underneath here as well. So we're going to do bow and arrow, and that works on the rotation of your spine, which when you're pregnant, when you have a big bump here, you tend to lose that a little bit because the bump got in the way and because your ribs had to elevate. So with the bow and arrow, we're just going to get that nice rotation back as well. So the first movement that you're going to do is as you breathe in, you draw your arm back as if you're drawing the bow of an arrow. Then as you breathe out, you rotate backwards, moving through the ribs. Breathe in and open your arm. And then breathe out to close. That's lovely. And all the while keeping your pelvis still and your waist lifted. So it's a breath in for the first slide, as if you're drawing the string of the bow. And a lovely out breath, and she's moving head to neck, ribs rotating around. Breathing in to open and out to close. Now only go as far as you can. You'll probably find you go a little bit further each time. It's a wonderful feel-good exercise, this, and it also works your waist as well, which is nice. I'm going to use as much or as little zip as you need to control your movement, and your pelvis and your knees. your knees here, together here, so that they help keep your pelvis still. So I think this is probably number 4. And you can work up to doing up to 8 on each side, but we're just going to do 4 because of time restraints. And then we'll bring your head up around the other end to do the other side. Oh, actually, I'll tell you what, no, before we do, let's do oyster on this side. While we're here, let's do the oyster. There you go, change my mind. So let's bring your feet back towards your hips, rolling around, and we'll take your arm up now so that you're resting. Hang on, I'll give you one, a bit more, even 2. One. So now, as you can see, I've taken the pillows away, and we've just got a couple of pillows there. And now your feet are in a line with your tailbone, with your spine here. The waist is still lifted. And with the oyster, we're going to be working on the deep gluteal muscles here, so they're really good for toning the bottom. So you've got shoulder over shoulder, hip over hip, foot over foot. Lovely. So we're going to do a very, very simple oyster. So breath in to prepare and out, keeping your pelvis still and stable, opening your knee. There you go. And your pelvis doesn't move. And then breathe into low. Just breathe into low, I think. You could take an extra breath there. And again, we're going to work up to doing about 8 to each side. But we're just going to do 4. So you're rotating, you're laterally rotating, you're turning your thigh bone out in the hip socket, sending the knee away from you, but at the same time anchoring that thigh bone in the hip here. So we'll just do 4, but work up to doing 8 to 10 of those, and then now we'll come on to the other side. There you go, and if you still face the camera. And then we'll get lots of nice big pillow underneath your head if you've got one. Lovely. That's it, another one. Yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
And for the first bow and arrow, I think we have them spread out a little bit. How's that? Probably looks a bit messy, but it'll do the job. Right, so if you just bring your shoulders back towards me and your head back. So in a lovely long straight line here, waist is lifted. Use your centering muscles to do that. Shoulder over shoulder, hip over hip, knee over knee, foot over foot. Lovely. So the bow and arrow now to work on that rotation. So a nice breath in. And then the out breath, head, neck, and ribs around. And again, using your breath. And then breathing in as you open and out as you close. So you can use the breath just to help with your movements. Now, if you get confused, don't worry, just keep breathing. And you can also experiment with the breath a little. I believe we did 4, so we have 2 more. Waist stays lifted, pelvis stays still. Now I'm helping her by holding you. You won't have me there to help you, so you've got to use your muscles to keep your pelvis still. If you think of your knees staying together, that helps too. So I think it's your last one. So it's a wonderful opening exercise. Feels fantastic. It's one of my favourites. Okay, and then we'll do the oyster. So you can take all these away. And down here, bring your feet back in line with your spine. And arm stretches out, palm facing up. So your feet and heels are together. We're just going to do the very simplest of oysters. There's lots of variations. So again, just checking you stacked up correctly. And now we're going to turn that thigh bone out to work this deep gluteal muscle here. So it's great for turning the bottom, which can tend to get a little bit flabby when you're pregnant. Sorry, not the jaws. And we'll just do 4. You can work up to doing more of these at home. So waist nice and lifted. And careful not to roll forward here, not the chin. Okay, so there's your 4. Fantastic. So we're now going to come onto your front and we're going to do a dart and a big squeeze. Now, it's quite possible if you're breastfeeding that you might find that you need a cushion underneath your boobs, basically. So I'm going to only give you one, not that you are still. If you have had a cesarean section, it should have healed by the time you're exercising, but you might want one under your tummy as well. So with the dart, you might also want a cushion underneath your forehead and your arms down by your side. So I'm just going to explain what's happening with the legs before we add the upper body, because otherwise it's a lot of information to be given you at the same time. So we're starting with the toes together and the heels slightly apart, and we're going to get a lot of deep pelvic floor work here as well. So taking a breath in, as you breathe out, engage your pelvic floor, draw your legs together and bring your heels so that they come close together here. So you're working everything from the waist down, and then breathe in and hold it and breathe out and relax on my floor. So again, you can think of the Windsip or the side to side pelvic floor. So just do a couple more of this big squeeze. That's it. So you're working the inner thighs here as well as the bottom, as you can see. So that's what's happening at that end. And then at the top end, we're going to be coming up into a gentle back extension. Now, when you've been pregnant, you've not been able to lie on your front, so you probably missed that feeling of coming back with a lot of exercises we do in Pilates, but we can do them again now. So while the legs are doing that, what the upper body is doing, so you're taking a breath in, as you breathe out, bringing the legs together, your head first, your head lifts when it's in a line. We're now going to draw the arms down towards, turn the palms to face each other and just nod forward a little bit. There you go, so we're working this bit. And then as you breathe out, come back again. You added an in-breath, I didn't have enough words. It's time to get all the words out, sorry. So breath in. As you breathe out, engage. That's it, head, neck, and the arms are opening the collarbones. Yeah, so long from your head to your toes, that's lovely. And coming back in your own time. So if you carry on doing that, Hayley. So first, it's like you just roll a marble away along the mat, but then you keep your neck nice and stiff. You almost want to gently tuck your chin in a little at the end of that, and then as you come up through the upper spine. So we're working here, and we're trying to reverse all the effects of feeding and looking after a baby. Everything to do with looking after a baby is like this. Nappy changing, feeding, or playing, all of these things tends to bring us into this rounded position. So we want to take the spine the other way to open it out. So first, you roll the marble away with your nose, your head lifts, your neck comes, collarbones open, but you still keep, almost like you're doing a little chin tuck there to keep the neck nice and long. And we'll just do one more. So wonderful for toning up here, but you're also toning your inner thighs. That's it, so long from head to toe. Fantastic. So from here we'll pop up onto all fours, and so we'll just do one. So we're taking a breath in, she's off already. Hang on. So hands beneath your shoulders, knees beneath your hips. Nice long spine, taking a breath in as you breathe out. Curl your tailbone under, ripple through the spine to create a lovely, even curve from top to tailbone here. And then sending your tailbone away and shining your breastbone forward. Lovely. And then if you've had knee problems, you can always pop a pillow underneath the knees. Just come back to sit on your heels for a second. If you need to, rest your head on something at this end. So just take a few breaths in this position. So just breathing nice and deep again, right down into your abdomen, and just allowing your spine to stretch the other way. And then when you're ready, again using your deep muscles, curl your tailbone under and slowly roll up, bone by bone, restacking the spine, opening the collarbones. Come up. Lovely. The last exercise is standing. So nice and slowly, because you've been down there a while, but you're quite relaxed. We'll come into a standing position. You could also do this high kneeling if you didn't want to come to standing. So if you want to stand, you've got a lot of cushions. If you come back a little bit, Hayley, so you're off the mat. A little bit in between, there we go. I'll move these out of your way, so I'm sure I'm a bit messy. But if you're mum at home, you're probably used to messy. Right, so feet a little bit wider than normal. We're going to do a side reach now that's going to really open your waist and work your waist. as well. So standing nice and tall, head balanced over the ribs, over the pelvis, weight even on both feet. We're going to take a breath in and float one arm up, keeping the shoulder nice and relaxed here. The arms slightly in front, and then as you breathe out, first goes your head, your neck, up and over, stretching out on both sides of your waist. Take a breath into the open side. As you breathe out, reach for the ceiling. As you come back and slowly lower the arm back down again. Lovely. We'll go for the other side. So the arm floats up, the collarbone stays nice and soft. Think of the shoulder drops you did earlier. And then head and neck up and over. So both sides of the waist, lovely and long. And then with the out breath, reaching up. So this is great for working and stretching out the waist. So we'll just do one more to each side. You can do probably about 6 I do of these. And the last one, we get the grand finale movement. As you reach up and over, staying centered as you can. And then just bringing your arms down, just bring your feet a little bit closer together and literally just take a moment to think head, ribs, pelvis. Just gently engaging those deep muscles again. Breathing gently into your sides. Lovely smell. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the workout.